So those two cases in rural Indiana represent evil in America, because the city of Delphi is any small town USA.
In 1992, the city of Delphi passed an ordinance adopting the Indiana Administrative Code on Building Regulations. It addresses building safety, including electrical, mechanical, and plumbing codes. While a building commissioner is in charge of inspecting buildings, the ordinance has rarely been enforced in the past 2.5 decades. Mayor Shane Evans says he wants to change that.
It's there to benefit the public. I mean, it's there for health and safety. It's there to make sure that the investment you make in your property is going to be a sound investment. I think anybody comes into a community and assumes that there are building regulations that have been in place.
Some Delphi City Council members want to see the ordinance repealed.
I just want to see us go down a road that is going to cost a lot of people a lot of money to live here and to build here and that kind of stuff.
In a letter to the City Council, Evans said if an ordinance is passed to repeal the original building ordinance, he will veto it.
I agree that we need minimum standards with different aspects and different things we do. But you can't sit here and tell me that more government regulation translates into prosperity for any city or any town.
November 21st, 2016 is a day that lingers in the minds of many in Carroll County, especially Deputy Drew Yoder.
We got to go in and get him. That was me and Josh's first thinking.
Yoder and Flora police officer Josh Dysinger were the first to arrive after a report of a fire at the East Columbia Street home. Yoder, who drove past the home frequently, saw Galen Rose outside and was familiar with her 4 daughters who were still trapped inside. Yoder and Dysinger sprang to action. Yoder was severely injured trying to save all 4 girls who died from smoke inhalation. After waking up in the hospital days later, he learned the tragic news.
When I was told the 4 little girls did not make it, my heart sank to my stomach.
While he mourned the girls' lives, he gained strength through all those.
I would suppose that by now, each of you have learned of the tragic fire that occurred in Flora early today. I'm certain that each of you are touched by the tragedy with the deaths of 4 children and burn injuries to first responders and the mother of the children. Although the cause of the fire is undetermined at this point, this event underscores the risks involved for multifamily dwellings, especially those in converted single-family homes. A contractor customer of mine was telling me this morning that he had done work in the home several months ago, and he observed a number of issues that at the time would have been high-risk conditions: inadequate electrical wiring, poor housekeeping, and the absence of multiple exits. He did not notice fire/smoke alarms or fire extinguishers. I don't know if these conditions were corrected prior to the fire, but I do know that if Flora had building codes and effective enforcement, any deficient condition could have been discovered and corrected. And maybe today, 4 little children would be alive and those injured would not have had their lives disrupted in such a traumatic and violent event. As the mayor continues to construct a building code enforcement policy and process, I encourage you to keep in mind the importance to the well-being and safety of our community of efficient oversight and enforcement of codes for residential, multifamily, and commercial buildings, including construction, maintenance, and occupancy. I am certain the town of Flora is asking themselves this morning if there was more they could have done to prevent this tragedy.
He's basically taking 4 people's deaths and a mother who was in the hospital at the time and 2 of our emergency personnel from the county, and he's basically politicizing it.
But that's not how Dywert sees it, and neither did Councilman Brian Garrison.
Mayor Evans doesn't want to get involved in the argument, but says the city is moving forward with discussions of enforcement and possibly amending the current building code ordinance.
Rivers run dry, dust breath in the air. to dark days. Do you have a tear to spare? Make a promise, the world awaits.
Early morning fire destroyed a Delphi family's home, and although everyone did make it out safely, the Delphi fire chief says it's a reminder of the importance of smoke detectors.
Come on, start a riot. When they love you too much, know it's fake, or even hate.
New information tonight into the Flora Fire that killed 4 children. After a lot of controversy surrounding the investigation, a peer review has found the fire was intentionally set.
It happened back in 2016 in November, but amidst that controversy over the cause, they called in the Indianapolis Fire Department. IFD did what's called a peer review to examine the origin and cause of the fire.
Flora Fire Chief has resigned.
He is the third person to now resign that has been involved in the investigation of a deadly fire that killed these 4 sisters. Adam Randall's resignation as fire chief comes almost a year after the girls' deaths. Adam's father, Dennis Randall, was the fire investigator with the State Department of Homeland Security. He has also quit his job this year. He resigned this summer after 13 investigates uncovered emails questioning his handling of the case. And then just last week, the Carroll County prosecutor announced he's retiring at the end of the year for private, personal reasons. There have been allegations of a cover-up and botched police work in this case. State police, though, have come out against those allegations and are still promising to get justice for the family.
I really pray, just like the superintendent does, this doesn't go 30 years. I'm hoping it doesn't go 30 more days or 30 more minutes, to be perfectly honest with you. We'd love a conclusion right now.
Somebody knows.
Somebody does know.
Somebody.
Absolutely.
Right. And you know, statistics would tell us that we probably have come across the name, the person somehow. Because this investigation has spanned such a broad area.
Yeah.
But we don't have that one piece.
Yeah, I think once we find out who did this, we're going to think, yep.
I think so too.